my fellow Kingdom ambassadors, what's good, what's popping, what's going on in between, underneath, above, and all that good stuff. How you feeling? How you kicking it? The moral of the story is poo. How you doing? Anyway, so we're back with another review of Fruit Basket. Now that I've caught you guys up into season 2, now we're going to either I'm gonna do bi-weekly uploads of all of the reviews I do, because I can't. If I was to do every show that I want to do every week, it would be too much. And I also work, so yeah, no. So I'm going to do episode 1 and 2 for this one, and I also have notes this time around. So bear with me if you see me looking at my phones, because I'm reading all the notes that I have written down here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this video. And boom! So episode 1 opens up with Yuki is sitting. So basically it shows up like Yuki sitting in the courtyard of their high school or whatever, right? And he's being monitored by somebody. He's being watched from a distance, and the girl is talking about like, oh, how the girl is talking in the scene or whatever it is. But in this episode, what I will say is like, child, my annoyance level was like yay high. Maybe because I've already watched these episodes already. I'm on season 2 episode 9. That's where I had stopped at, so I can catch you guys up. So because I've already watched it already, maybe that's why it was like super annoying to me. Of like while rewatching her being all like ooh over him, and it's just like, girl, pipe down. It's never that serious. Pipe down. Anyway, so we see Yuki. He's sitting in the courtyard of his school reading a book while Mokoto is the one observing him and being like stalker-ish. It's real weird. And staring at him from the window of a classroom. And she's saying how much she loves him and everything. She loves him and she loves everything about him. His gray hair, his eyes. She just loves that man, okay? Without letting that man know. And then she also goes into how she's jealous. Well, she doesn't notice. She doesn't say that she's jealous, but based off what she's saying, you get like a understanding that she's jealous of Tuhuru, which is last episode I said I would call her Miss Honda. But she's jealous of Tuhuru, and that only comes up because she saw Tuhuru walk up to Yuki and he starts walking off with her. Now, I can understand why she's jealous because he really do pay special attention to her. But that's because, like, to me, as of right now, when I was watching this particular episode and from like going from season 1 to season 2, I was like, Yuki and Kyo are starting to like, it's feel like they're starting to fall in love with this little girl, and it's like, ooh, not the both of y'all in the same family. But I can see why she would be a bit of like, oh, what's happening here? Because like, you know. Anyway, so they start walking off or whatever. And even though they are nothing more than just friends based on her own assumptions, she thinks Tuhuru likes him, and it's really creepy. It's a really creepy scene for me, for a girl to be so obsessed and consumed with a guy in such a manner. Like the way she was just gushing about him. And it's just like, ooh, do you not have nothing else to do in your school day? And then the fact that they created a whole club, a whole fan club. And I was talking to my other friend about it, and she was saying how like this is usually what they do in animes. But I guess it just really never dawned on me until this one that like, yo, you wildin'. Like you I'm gonna need y'all to have several scenes with this. Oh hell, Yuki. Oh my gosh. No women let y'all come near him. He is ours and ours only. And we must protect Yuki at all costs when Yuki don't even know y'all. Anyway, Tuhuru has been staying with the Soma's family for about a year now. And it's been nothing short of eventful for her. She met a lot of the Soma's family already. I mean, the Zodiac sign, she's met a lot of them so far already, which we've discussed in the previous episode. And she also, what I thought was a part of season 2, but I was like, I didn't have notes. She also saw Kyo's raw form of like, he's, child, I don't know how to describe. I'm gonna get a picture and show you what his rare form, like his real form is, because I don't know what to describe it as. Like a big roach. I just don't know. It was just glowing eyes. And he also smelled horrible. According to what she said, she was puking because the smell of it all. It wasn't even that he scared her, like, oh, she was so like terrified or whatever. Like, she still loved him or whatever because that's her friend. But it was just the simple fact of like the smell. She was like, ooh. That's what happened last season. And the only reason why, I'm going to tell you, the only reason that was able to happen was because of his master. His master pushed that so that it could happen, so he can be more comfortable and he wouldn't have to constantly keep hiding himself. So the master came one day and he was like, because Yuki wears this like red and white bracelet that I think is like the blood of somebody and also the bones of somebody, if I'm correct, that helps conceal his true form. Like, he can form into a cat with the thing on, and it's not bad. But his true form is like worse. So it conceals it and only allows him to form into a cat. So he comes and he's like, take that off. It's time to like let her see it. And he was so scared because he thought like she was gonna repel against him or whatever. And even though he hurt her, like she was trying to like come close to him and hold one of his claws or whatever, and he was just like bow with her. Like, that was like, damn. From like Friday, yo, you got knocked up. But but for real, he was like, playing with her, like, go away from me. I was like, ooh. That's the part that like, I was in the last episode, I almost cried. That's what made me cry, because I was like, that whole scene itself was just so like, for me, it was powerful. Because that's how I'll be with my friends. Like, I don't care what you look like, I don't care what you've been through. I'm here. I'm gonna support you through it all, and I got you, no matter what. So yeah. So that's what happened with that. So she's seen his true form, and she's also still grieving about her mother. And even though she's still grieving, she likes to help. She really wants to help the Somanas family, especially like she wants to learn more about their curse, and like, because in this previous season she was told about like, oh, there's a curse that comes with loving a zodiac sign person or whatever. So she wants to learn more about it. She wants to learn more about them. And then she's also, Tuhuru, because I keep saying she, but y'all should know what I'm talking about. Tuhuru is also excited about the summer, because as of this season, they're about to head into their summer break. Excuse me. So, moving on to the next scene. Tuhuru and the boys are sitting at the table, eating and discussing plans for the summer. Yuki and Kyo get into it per usual. Okay, like per usual. I think Kyo was talking to Tuhuru, and he says something snarkily about Yuki, and then Yuki just punches him across the room. And you know how animes, he made him fly, okay? Just made him fly, and he was poof. I was like, wow, the violence is real. It's real given in this season, okay? So which usually causes Tuhuru to, like, when they fight or whatever, it usually causes her to want to get in the middle of it to break them up or whatever and get them all back to copaceticness or whatever, because she knows they will never be okay. They will never be friends or whatever. She's okay with that, but she wants them to at least get along. And the funny part about this one is, like, while she's trying to break them up or whatever, she has an iron in her hand and she's like pointing it at them and she's like, "Don't hurt each other." And Yuki was like, no, not Yuki, Kyo. I'm sorry, I'm gonna always mess up the name. Kyo was like, "But you're the one with the iron in your hand, and you don't want us. You gonna hurt us? Put the iron down, whatever, you know." So anyhow, so next scene, we're back at the school with Motoko. We're back at the school with Motoko, which is the girl who is like obsessed with Yuki and they have a fan club of Yuki, which I don't understand how Yuki does not know about this obsession, or like there's a fan club about him. I don't know. But her two friends. So now we're back at the school with Motoko with her two friends, her two other friends that are also obsessed with Yuki, and they are also a part of the fan club that they have at the high school for Yuki, which is weird. Anywho, so child, we see her because Yuki's he's now a part of the student council. He's not gonna start his role until the next year, but he's like trying to suss out the vibes and like get to know his role. So now that he's a part of it, this girl and her little friends go over to Makoto's, who is right now the student council leader, to inquire information about what other females are on the council, so they can scare her into not flirting with him or something. I don't know. They don't want no female near this man for some weird reason. Like, as if like they're gonna annihilate all women or all females on the school campus. Like, he's not just gonna encounter any other women in life. But anywho, so they're asking him the question, and he's not giving it up. And you know, anime style is real dramatic. It's real. She's like on the table. Dude, I'm gonna have a picture up here. She's like, "Who are all the members? Who are all the members as a part of the council?" And he's like calm and collected. He's like, "Wouldn't you like to know?" Da 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 da. And she's like, "Who are all the members?" Child, he ain't give it up. So many scenes in this episode that really just be having me like, This scene annoyed the entire living F out of me. Like, the entire fuck out of me. Okay? Girl, go read a book. Go sit down. Go do something with yourself. Come join the student council if that's the case. Run for it. Do something. Instead of, have a seat, chat. So later on we see them in a court, like under I feel like this is the same part of the school where Tuhuru and Akito first encountered in the first season. It's like under this because my high school had, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a little awning that's outside or whatever, and then you walk through it to get to the other part of the school. Yeah. So Dumb, Dumber, and Stupidity, or whatever. We're talking or whatever. Some children ran into them trying to get to Utani. And I thought I was dramatic, but the way she fell, it's such a dramatic. She was like, into her friend's arm, her other minions. She fell into one of their arms. Like the children she called them delinquents. As I had told you in the previous episode that Utani used to be a part of this gang or whatever, just like Tuhuru mom was a part of this biker gang. Utani was a part of this like young children gang or whatever. So these children are a part of like children gang that look up to her or whatever. And she's trying to like lead them into the right direction because she doesn't want them to go the way she went, and when they're a part of the gang, they call them delinquents. So she was like, who are the delinquents on this campus first? There's a witch. Now there's true delinquents. Da 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 da. Well, she's going off. Okay. And then the children, while they go to Utani, Utani also is Tahuru's best friend. The one that I just explained it. Tahuru's best friend. And the witch that she's referring to is also Tahuru's best friend. So while Utani and the children are talking, they're like, and they're having this like, she's like, why are y'all here? What did you not go to your classes? Da 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 da. And they're like, yeah, we just want to know if you're gonna hang out with us today or what. Child. And they're so aggressive how they asking, you gonna hang out with us today or what? Oh my gosh. Child, all they hear is her like them having Motoko, them having like this conversation or whatever, and the children turn around and like, what's wrong with her? Child, nobody knows. Yuki's going to the counselor's office for the meeting instead of the student council office where the meetings are usually held. So as he go in there, child, he runs into this girl, and like she's in like, it's like a weird little scene. The room is destroyed and she's on her knees and she's facing the opposite direction from the door or whatever. And it's like she looked distraught. Like she's like as if, to me it came off as she's the cause of the destruction and she probably had like a meltdown or something like that. But so he runs into her and the girl name is Kuragi. Anyway, he runs into her and he's like, what's wrong? Are you okay? Do you need help or whatever? And she's just like, I'm okay. I'm gonna clean this up or whatever. So she goes to get the guy who is right now, who is going to be the VP for Yuki when the student council, when they take their term or whatever. And she goes to get him. He's like literally next door sleeping on the couch. And she gets him and he's like, no, come back later. And she wakes him up. She's like, Yuki's here. And she was like, ah. And then like, you know how anime is the overreaction thing with the sweat. He overreacts and he's like, why didn't you wake me up earlier? I didn't want him to know that I sleep on the job, even though I'm sleeping right now. Da 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 da. And it was just like, oof. Just oof. My gosh. Because, like, the whole scene was just like, what in the stinker winker is going on here? Like, why is she crying? Why are you asleep while she's crying? And then, like, it's just like, ooh. I just, and then this is still morning time. Like, this is still, like, I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand. It's just like, it's a lot going on in this moment. So anyway, deep in thoughts with my eyes closed. That's what the boy tell Yuki. He was like, oh, I'm not sleeping. I'm just in deep in thoughts with my eyes closed. And child, I've heard that so many times from one particular person in my life though. And I just be like, child, if you want to just say you're sleeping and go on about your day, anywho, boy, you're asleep. You're not deep in thoughts. What are you talking about? So anyway, was just talking to so much and not letting Yuki speak. So the boy was like, so he was just like overly trying to explain himself, and every time Yuki tried to interject, he's cutting him off and all that. Like it was just really weird. And then he asked Yuki to walk him out when he was like, oh, I'm not sleeping, I'm just deep in thought, whatever. He asked Yuki to walk him out because he's about to leave to go to his work or something, his job or something like that. I can't remember. But while they were walking, they were talking or whatever. He ends up like insulting Yuki and talking about like how feminine his face looked. Like, I just didn't understand that. I was like, oh, okay. So anyway, and the way that the boy was over talking him and the way that he was like expressing himself, Yuki was like really annoyed by it, and he was like, ugh, I do not like this guy, and I just met him, and he reminds me of somebody. And then when he finally remembers, he reminds him of his older brother. He was like, ugh. Because his older brother can give off like he's gay vibes. And the way this boy was like talking about Yuki's face, it was like, oh, it's so feminine, but it's so it's so pretty. I was like, ugh, is you gay or is you gay? What are we doing here? I just didn't understand it. So anyway, in next scene, another multiple scene, child, Yuki Lumet. Okay, it's another her being like, oh my gosh, I'm in love with you. I love you so much. You're so perfect. Da da da. So in this scene, she's like, because she's about to graduate the next spring, and she won't be able to see him as often as she sees him at school. Probably not gonna see him at all. And she goes into like her first interactions with him. Literally, and this interaction was like nothing short of a simple hey. Not for my understanding. I'm gonna explain to you why I'm saying this. It was really nothing for her to be like, oh, I'm in love. Like nothing happened that was so like, yeah, he's a good guy, or yeah, he like literally all it was he was she looked at him and she was like, Yuki, you're so beautiful, and he was like, thank you very much. And after that, she was like, oh, I'm so in love with you. Oh my gosh. Whoa. Girl. What was he supposed to say? No, thank you. Like, what? Child. So while she's going off in a tangent, her mother walks in the room and she's like, girl, shut up. You are disturbing my sleep. And she calls her mother. She's like, shut up, you old hag. Cause child, oh my gosh, if that was me and I talked to my mother like that, girl, before I even get you old, the way my mother hand would have met my face in the like whoop. Child, oh my gosh, it was so like. It was something, child. Anyway, the Yuki laments that she be having, it's just so like, ooh, girl, take a nap, go lay. Anyway, so the next day she continues to get information. She continues to try to get information from Makoto, and he's still not willing to tell her. So finally they come up with a plan to break into the student council room, to break into their files, to get a list of members. And because she comes to the conclusion that because Makoto will not give her the information about who all is on the student council member team or whatever, that means that there is a female, which there is, because I just informed y'all about it. She's the treasurer, the girl that had destroyed the room or whatever when Yuki had walked into the meeting or whatever. So which her conclusion is correct, but it's just like, child. And so while in the scenes continue, they go on to try to break into the room, but they find out the door is open, and as they open the door, they see Yuki sitting there reading a book. And they start to freak out, as they usually do, like, oh my gosh, Yuki, oh, woo, woo. So she compliments Yuki, and then after she compliments him, he replies back, and she realizes how nicer he is now than Yuki that she's experienced throughout the years that she's known him. And she goes off on a tangent about like how she knows that the only reason why he is nicer now is because of Tuhuru. And she's like, how, like, you know how she's thinking about it in her thoughts. She's having a whole like mind. She talks to herself in her mind, but they accidentally ends up saying it out loud. And she's like, you cannot have him. Da 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 da. And he's like, what? And she runs out. After he compliments her back and tells her like, when she's having this conversation, when they were talking, Yuki was like, oh, you speak really proper. And he was like, and she was like, yeah, I do. Is that a problem? Something like that she said. And he was like, no, it's cute. Which is how she realized like he's nicer. And then she goes into like, oh, he wouldn't be this nice if it wasn't for the hoodoo. And she hates to admit it or whatever. And and she cannot have him. And then she runs out. Because that's the last thing that he said to her was that is cute, he thinks that he said something wrong to her. So he runs out after her to go check on her to make sure that she's okay or whatever. And child, while he's running after her, she's out there talking about like how she hates when girls get close to him. She hates Tuhuru, but the girl that she hates the most is the girl that she sees when she looks in the mirror, which is herself. And he comes in, he checks on her. He comes and he checks on her and he asks her if she's okay. Did he say something to offend her or whatever? And she's like, yeah, she's okay. She can tell that he has changed or whatever. And he's like, I've changed? Wow. Anywho. So, next scene, Yuki and Tuhuru are washing dishes. Yuki is telling Tuhuru about his day and like his first encounter with meeting the student council and how he met the VP, the guy who was like touching his face and was like being like real weird and reminding him of his brother. And Tuhuru, per usual, try to gives him like positive vibes. Okay, I can't get the word, I don't know. And try to get some positive vibes. And she says things will be hard sometimes, but she believes that he will end up with more good memories than bad memories. And from that, he feels like a little better or whatever. And in his mind, he says this thing, and I think it's really powerful. And the same words that hurt him was the same words that healed him. Which I took from that is words are really powerful. You can choose to heal somebody with your words, or you can choose to hurt somebody with your words. And we have to, in the Bible, as the Bible says, life and death lies in the power of the tongue. And I believe that sometimes when it comes, life or life, yes. But sometimes when it comes to our lives and our dreams or whatever, we must speak those things as if they are already existing. Like instead of like, even though your current situation looks like this, speak what you want it to be. Like currently, I'm going through it. But what I'm going to speak is that I'm highly favored. I am wise beyond my years. I am going to be an entrepreneur. My dreams are going to come to pass. I'm going to have my happy ending. You know what I mean? And like, just don't fixate your mind on the things as they are right now. Instead, speak positive back into yourself. Remind yourself that you may be feeling like you having your ugly days, because everybody have those. But instead of like engrossing yourself in it and like allowing it to swallow you up, instead just talk to yourself and be like, I'm beautiful. I love your eyes. I love your smile. I love this about you. You're a go-getter. I love how you communicate. I just love you. You know what I mean? So heal yourself with your words, so that when you go out there and people speak negative words to you, it won't really resonate. It won't really penetrate, because you have already done the work within you, and you have already built. And I'm speaking for myself, to me and you. And you have already built that shield up. You know what I mean? And also, there's a saying where they say, sticks and I cannot talk today. Sticks and stones may hurt me, but words will not. I don't remember. Anyway, I don't remember how it goes for real, but that's how the moral of the story. Like, sticks and stones can hurt me, but your words will not. That's a motherfucking lie. That's a motherfucking lie. Words can hurt way deeper than sticks and stones. Yeah, sticks and stones will like bruise me or whatever, but the bruise will go away. But the hurt that words caused lasts years. Years. Do you hear me? Okay. Because things that my biological father have told me when I was younger still resonates with me to this day. I'm still trying to unlearn, not seeing myself in a way of which I was spoken to. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to unlearn, like, true love. Like, I need what really love is. Okay. So anyway, so now we're gonna go into episode 2, and we're gonna go ahead on and end this video, because I feel like this video has gone long enough. So, and now we have approached to somewhat the last week or the last day of school or whatever before the summer, and they announced, which is so weird to me, but it's not my culture. So I wouldn't know, because African school and American school are two different things as well. So they announced that, oh, we're coming up to the last day of school, or I think this is the last day of school. I'm not sure, but once you guys come back, we're gonna have a parent teacher conference and let your parents know. And to me, it's like we're going to summer vacation. I'm not gonna remember as a parent. I'm not gonna remember that I have a PTA meeting when my child come back. Just tell me after the child come back and just send me a notification like, "Hey yo, there's a parent teacher conference meeting." I understand that. But anyway, so the group is eating together and discusses future plans. And Tuhuru only has plans to work. Utani says she can also get married, like again, working, and because basically, since her mother is gone, she's just trying to fulfill her mother's dream of like her graduating from high school and whatever. So outside of that, she has no other plans. So all that she has planned to do is just to work thus far. But as her friends, they're like, girl, no, you don't have to just live that type of life, a 9 to 5 life. Where you can also get married. And what blows me is her friends, while they're all sitting together. Before then, child, hold up, wait a minute. Before we get to their part, Keo said something I was like, ooh, you little rude. Hey, while they're outside sitting to eat, just pause at that part. While they're sitting outside sitting to eat or whatever, he gonna say, this food would taste so much better without y'all around. And he's referring to Yuki and Tuhuru's friends. Anywho, so now back to the part. So she's like, oh, you could do other things besides just work. You can also get married. You get married to and then you get married to one of these two boys right here. And they just go berserk. Like, what? Why would you say that? And like, you see the little sweat thing on the back of their head or whatever. And they get upset, the two friends, they get upset. And they're like, you all want to marry our friend? Because if you got a problem with her, you got a problem with us. Come on, friends. Because that's how my friends will be. Oh, if you got a problem with YASME, you got a problem with us. Because one fight, we all fight. Especially my sister. My sister's on me. Utani. She then says she met a guy at work who reminds her of Huru. Now, again, I told you I'm ahead of the episode. So when this happened, when she said that, I was like, girl, do you like her too? Because why do you want to meet a guy that reminds you of your friend? But later on, she explains it. And I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense. But anyway, so Kyo and Tuhuru the next scene, Kyo and Tuhuru goes to Master Kuzuma. Master Kuzuma, who is Kyo's master, the master that came and forced him to show his rare form, his true form to Tuhuru. They went to his dojo. And while they were on their way walking or whatever, it was really cute because Tuhuru often like spaces out often. In the midst of walking, in class, anywhere she is, she's gonna space out or whatever. And he's like, they're walking, and Kyo is like, you need to come home before I leave you. Why you saying space now? And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And she's like, I'm so excited to meet your master again. And he's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. We're just going to the dojo, You might get bored. And she's like, no, I'm not gonna get bored. I'm really excited to meet him. And he's like really like happy that she's excited about it, because this is a part of his life that like he loves the most, because he loves to fight. And when he talks about his fighting and stuff like that, he gets like really giggity about it. And the master is like his father to him. So while they're at the house, when they get into the house or whatever, they walk in and they're calling. I'm gonna just say master. But when I just say master, I'm talking about Kazuma. So they're like, master. They're calling, Kyo's calling his name, which he calls him master. And he's not responding. And then Tuhuru is like, do you smell something burning? And they run to the kitchen, and this man is reading a book while burning the food that he's cooking. And the book that he's reading is He's reading Sugar Ray, and the cousin. He's reading Sugar Ray's new book, and he just, now mind you, backstory, he always burns food, which is why Kyo ends up learning how to cook so he can survive and not have to eat charcoal food. So it's like per usual, he's always burning something. So because they're supposed to come there for lunch or whatever, Thuhuru's volunteers, and she's like, oh, I can cook or whatever, you know? Because we're not gonna sit here and eat this burnt ham. Oh, sir. All due respect. She didn't say it, but I'm saying it for her. So he's like, yeah, sure, you can go ahead and cook if you want to. And Kyo just spazzed out. He's like, no, she's a guest. She's not supposed to be cooking. What do you mean? And then Thuhuru just says, like, it's okay, I want to cook, I don't mind. So she goes and scroungers around the kitchen to find what she can cook. And she stumbles upon the curry, and she's like, oh, I can make curry. And he's like, okay, great, I can, that sounds good or whatever. So as they're all talking or whatever, the master was about, as they're all talking or whatever, Kyo ends up volunteering to help her because the master was going to stay and help Thuhuru. He was like, no, we don't need you to burn up anything else. I'll help her. And while he's volunteering to help her or whatever, Thuhuru ends up saying like how, oh, Kyo can cook, and he made her some porridge when she wasn't feeling good. And he was like, he made you porridge? And he makes this like little face like, I see what's going on here, Kyo. I see you, player from a player to a player. I see you, real, recognize real. Raise you right, son. I raised you right. And he's like, no, it's not like that. Excuse me. He's like, no, it's not like that. Da da da. So he hears Kyo and Thuhuru ends up going to the kitchen cooking or whatever. And they have a little interaction or whatever. And Master's just standing at the door watching them have the interaction. And he's like, oh, I remember a year ago how you were so down. In his mind, he's not saying this out loud. He's having like a memory. And he's like, I remember a year ago when he was so like depressed and he couldn't even smile. He was just, I didn't know how to get him out of it. But now look at him. She got him out of it. She helped him out, whatever. Anyway, while he's in this memory, his assistant calls him and he's like, there's somebody at the door. And by the time he gets his assistant, whoever was at the door left, which we find out that is Kyo's father, which then prompts his next move to have to leave. And Kyo is like, where are you going? Why are you leaving? Da, da, da. And he's like, the master, it's like, you always act up when you were younger into my left. You just act like you couldn't, girl, boy, calm down. And he's like, it's not that deep. I just want to know where you're going, whatever. And he ends up leaving while they continue cooking or whatever. And he goes meet up with Kyo's father, and they have a discussion about Kyo and how like they need to lock him up. Because what we learned in this scene is that the master's grandfather was the keeper of the cat spirit, like Kyo is. So, and his grandfather was locked up for a majority of his life or whatever. I think he was locked up for majority of his life or whatever. And he's not going to allow that to happen to Kyo because Kyo's like a son to him. And he will give up his life to fight anybody who wants to lock him up. Because according to Kyo's father, his biological father, Kyo's a monster. He's the one who killed his wife, which is not true. But the father has such hatred for Kyo, and Master was like, this is how Kyo used to be, but he says the anger that you're showing, this is how Kyo used to be, but he has changed, and now he's better with his anger. He's getting old, like he's growing into a really great young man. And the father is like, Kyo's father is not hearing it. He's not caring what you're talking about. Lock him up. He's a monster. We don't want that name. And the master is like, you would not talk about my child in such a manner. And then the father is like, well, you get paid a good low change to watch to raise a Zodiac child. So we know it's the money, that you talking that's making you be all this bold with it. And he's like, nah, it's not even about the money. I love that child. That's my son. I will die for him, and you will not talk about my son in such a manner. And I was like, you better stand up for your son. And he leaves in there, and he's like, oh, he's gonna get locked up after he graduates high school. Watch it. You will not be able to go against Akito's order. And the master is like, watch me. If I gotta die by him, I'll die. I'll die by him. You're not gonna play with my champ. So he goes and he gets back to the house. By the time he gets back to the house, Kiyo and Tuhuru are sitting at the table talking or whatever, having a cute little conversation per usual. Flirtatiousness that she's like aloof to. She flirts back. Because for me, I'm a flirtatious person as well. But my flirtatiousness is just me being nice. And I think that's what hers is. Like, she's flirtatious, but she's not purposely. Like, that's what I'm flirtatious, but I'm not purposely. Unless I like you, then you will know. When I'm purposely flirting, is real. It's a miss. But when I'm not, and I'm just really being nice, it be giving real vibes. Okay? Hers, she's not really purposely trying to flirt, so it's giving real vibes. Like me. She reminds me a lot of me in so many ways. But anyway, so yeah, so they were talking, they having a conversation or whatever, and he walks in and he's like, Kiyo's asking him like, you okay? What happened? Did you have to, whatever. And he's like, no, it's all good. I have to handle some business or whatever. And then they eat or whatever. Child, and then see girl, Dizzy. And later on, we see her and Mommy G. Anyway, the bunny. Love. That's my favorite character. Like, I love Momoji. Momoji. It's not Momo. It gotta be Mommy G. Yeah, Mommy G. So we see her and Mommy G. Her, when I'm talking about Tuhuru. And again, remember in the last episode I told y'all, like, he goes to this Tuhuru's job where his mom and his sister are usually at, to just like look at them from a distance because they don't know of him. So they're walking out of her job or whatever, talking about their homework, and the homework was to come up with a career plan, which is why they were having that conversation when they were having lunch at school or whatever. So, and Momoji says how Mommy G also says that he has that same assignment even though he's a freshman. And he already has his life planned out. But the only thing is that he will not be able, he doesn't say it, but he's like, he will not be able to do what he has planned. He doesn't say why. He just leaves it off like, but I'll let you know one day through what that plan is. And later we find out why. But it's only because Akito is, I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all now. It's only because Akito's in charge of their lives. And as we were just in the last scene with Kiyo's dad and Master, where he was saying how he's gonna get locked up after high school anyway. I think with the other people, they will have to do a certain task or something like that. I already know what's gonna happen, but I can't. We gotta wait till we get to the episode where I'm at now. So anyway, so I feel like it's only because of they gotta go. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it because we're gonna go into it anyway. They gotta go back to the main house. Right now, everybody's living outside the house. They gotta go back. The Somnus family has to go back to the main house, and Akito will tell them she runs their lives. So while they in this period of time going to high school and living their regular life, she's still in charge of them, but like they have a little bit more freedom than they would when they were when they will go back to the main house. So which is why, but Tuhuru doesn't know that yet. So then the next scene is Yuki comes to pick up the hoodoo from work, because that's what he usually does, to come pick her up from work so they can walk home, because it's unsafe for her to walk by herself. And she's talking to him about the plans that the homework or whatever, and that how Momoji was saying how it's impossible for them to do what they want to do when it comes to Somna's family. And he asked her, do you know why? And she's like, no. And he was just like, well, Aki told me some decisions for them. He don't really say it, but I just told y'all why. Aki told me some decisions for them. He just like tries to play around it without really telling her exactly what it is. So then later on in the season, later on in the episode, Kyo is cooking when they get home. Tuhudu and Yuki get home. Kyo's cooking in the kitchen, and she decides to go and help him. Tuhudu gets emotional about not knowing what the future holds. So while they're cooking, they decide to sit at the table and talk, and they're discussing about the homework plans or whatever. And she gets like really full with emotions, and like her anxiety take over, which is where I am at right now when it comes to my life right now. I just feel like the plans that I had my life planned to the T. When I say to the T, I had my life planned to the T. But when I tell you, when God was like, that's not what I want you to do though. You go ahead. That's not what I want you to do. And since then, it's been like, ooh, I have no plans. I don't know what's happening. I'm just literally, like, I get so anxious. I get filled with so much anxiety. And I'm a worrier. I'm an overthinker. I get filled with so much anxiety when I think about like my future, or like, am I gonna get what I've been praying for? Is it gonna be my happy ending? You know what I mean? So while they're talking or whatever, and I've told you she reminds me so much of myself. Out of nowhere. Out of nowhere, Sugar Daddy comes out and is like, and gives Tuhudu advice. But before that, Yuki is like, not Yuki, Kyo is like, where you come from? And he's like, have you been here the whole time? He was like, somewhat. Now, also what I love about, before I get paused there, what I love also the most about this scene is that Sugar Daddy's advice really helped me. And also how Tuhudu is, even in the midst of her like worrying about her future, and like the fact that she don't have a mom, she don't have a dad, her grandfather's not really in her life like that, because we don't see that man. We don't see that man no times. It's really just her, and she don't really she don't like to rely on people like that. So it's really just her against the world, and that's how I feel. Like, I have family, I have my mom and my dad or whatever, but if I'm being honest, even though I know I got them, it really just feels like it's really just me. It's really just me against the world, because like I don't want to add my burdens or my troubles to what anybody else got going on. I'm already experiencing life. I already know the demons, the fight that I go through daily, and how traumatized, how hurt and broken I am. I can only imagine what anybody else is going through. And for me to come and put my burdens onto you, it's just like, ooh, I'd rather not. So but one thing I will do is I love to be there for people. I love to help. I love to spread love to people. You know what I mean? So, and that's how she's, even in the midst of her like being so like broken or whatever, and still grieving, she still protects the people around her. She still loves the people around her. She gets so filled with emotion where she's like, I keep saying Yuki, Kyo, can we not talk about me? Because if we talk about me, I'm gonna start crying, and I'm not gonna be able to stop. And I understand that feeling, because like I a river, but I'm not, because I feel like once I start crying again, it's gonna be unstoppable, and it's gonna lead me into a depression, and I'm not trying to get there. I'm only trying to come out of a depression. For me to go right on back into it, absolutely not. We're not even gonna do that. So Shigure, he comes out of nowhere and gives her an advice. And the advice, are you ready for it? It's actually really, really good. For Shigure being a pervert and I don't know the word for it, but for him being who he is, and also the fact that I told you on the last episode that, like, I feel like, but he gives off like he has hidden motives, and he's very, like, secretive. He got something going on, Akito, and it's just like, are you putting the hoodoo in danger? Are you putting the boys in danger? Like, it's giving something. Something is up not right with him. But in this moment, he gives this beautiful little advice. Okay, he gives her this advice, but I'm gonna put the clip in here because I recorded the clip. I'm gonna put the clip in here, and you're gonna watch it, and that's the advice that he gives him.
Okay, let's try something else. Picture this. You're surrounded by a mountain of laundry so immense you can't see over the top of it. And what's worse, you have no washing machine. So you'll have to do it all by hand. Obviously, you're overwhelmed. You look around you and the doubts start flooding in. Will you be able to clean it all? How long will it take? Can you do it well enough? And the more you think, the more anxious you get. Time ticks by, but you feel paralyzed. So, what do you do now, Toro? If you ask me, your best bet is to start by washing the laundry that's at your feet. It's important to think about what's ahead, but if you focus on that too much, you'll trip over what's right in front of you. Keep washing, one piece of laundry at a time, and before you know it, there you'll be, staring up at the sun in a bright blue sky. And sure, you'll still get anxious sometimes, but when that happens, just take a little break. Read a book, watch some TV, and if all else fails, eat somen with your friends.
So when he gives her that advice, it kind of just helps me realize, like, I keep hearing this over and over from people who are older than me, people who have experienced life, just, you know, and from God, for me to just keep living. And that's basically what he's saying. Just keep living. Even when you feel like you can't go on no further, take another step. Even when you feel you can't take another breath, you just don't want to live anymore, just take another breath. When you don't want to eat another bite. Drink another water. Just keep pushing. At some point, you're gonna find yourself in the things that you prayed for. At some point, you're gonna find yourself in the tomorrow that you was hoping for today. Just like how I'm here today. This was my prayer yesterday. That I'm living in. This was my prayer yesterday. I don't even know how I got here, but I got here. The same way how I got here, I'm gonna get there. And even though life is lifing and life is boxing the entire book, like it's like, damn, you got knocked the fuck out by life. I'm gonna get up, knock me out, I'm gonna get back up. Knock me out again, I'm gonna get back up. Knock me out again, I'm gonna get right on back up. I will never. You're not gonna get 1, 2, 3. You're not even gonna get the 3. You're not gonna get a 3. It's not gonna be a WWE SmackDown type thing. You're not gonna do it. So that's what I'm gonna leave y'all with today. After all of it, after all is done, the way life is life, and it's hard for everybody. Because I even talked to my mother in Africa. It's hard for everybody right now. Inflation is hitting the world. COVID has hit the world. Everybody's going through it one way or another. The rich, the poor, the in-between. We're all going through it. Money cannot buy your way out of life in you. You know what I mean? So even in the midst of it, bro, always remember, just take another step. Go to sleep, wake up. Take another day. And take vacations when you need to take vacations. For these jobs, bro. For these jobs. And I mean, period. Don't be living your life for nobody but yourself and God. And that's just period on that. So, when life is life for you, just keep living and keep going. And take your vacations, boo. You know, because tomorrow's not promised. Make provisions for tomorrow, but tomorrow's not promised. Also, be grateful for the now and the here. Right here, and I've been saying this myself all year, right here is holy. Here in this very moment that I'm in, even though I don't think it's holy, I think I'm as sinful as I can be. I think I am flawed, and you know, even though that I am exactly where God needs me to be, and right here is holy. Tomorrow will take care of itself. My provider will take care of it. Whew, these bills gonna be billing, whether you're here or not. The bills are gonna bill. The child. Adulting is trash. Nobody has told you adulting is trash. But God is greater. Love you. I mean it. God loves you. You know it. And I will see you. Oh, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Give that notification bell away. A ring a zing zing so that you will be notified every time I post another banger video. Alright. I will see y'all in my very next video. Again, I better see you in my very next video. You better be here. You better keep breathing. You better keep stepping. Love you. Later. Cause things isn't God ain't fucking. It's things. Do y'all see the weight loss? Like the butt is button soup. But do you see the weight loss stuff at all? Like y'all, I need to meet. But the butt though, the butt is butt.